And you talked earlier about how you've been playing for about a year straight. So can you put into perspective, how tired are you? And on top
She
of that,
doesn't get tired. You see the way I run? I
She
just
does not
sprint
get
all the
tired.
time.
all the time.
Sprint. I sprint everywhere. I sprint in my apartment. I sprint. I sprint. Love sprinting.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? CC Report here, and we are well into training camp. Day 1 is already come and gone. Day 2 is well underway as I record this. We've got a lot of content to get through. We've got media interviews. We've got training camp highlights, we've got sound, we've got pictures, we've got the whole thing. There's not going to be a lot of analysis from me in this video. It's basically going to be clips that speak for themselves, but I just really wanted to get this video out to you and talk a little bit about a couple of topics that have come up in training camp. So let's go ahead and get started. The very first thing that I want to show you was the very first thing that came out of training camp. And let's just take a look at how enthusiastic the entire team is to get back at it, to get to work, and to start the work of winning the championship. Let's take a look.
I'm so excited. So excited. Woo! Hello. What's going down? We got vibes. I feel like I'm 9 years in. Go Fever Girls! What's happening? What's good? First day! First day out! Day 1 again! Day 1! Woo! You guys ready to rock and roll? Year 1.
How you feeling?
Feverish. Hey!
Good, excited. Home, crib, 3 months 7.
Yes! First day! Woohoo!
Good. Ready to go? Year 2, here we go.
Good, ready to go.
I have no message. Let's get it.
I just love seeing the personalities of all the different Fever Girls, but let's look at the enthusiasm on all of their faces, especially Caitlyn. She's earned this. She really has. This is the type of Caitlyn that we don't see a lot of. Normally we see the media-trained Caitlyn, we see the serious Caitlyn, occasionally we see the goofball or the troll Caitlyn, but this is like the kid at Christmas morning Caitlyn that we rarely get a glimpse of, but we know it exists somewhere. And really the only people that matched that energy were the rookies. It's their first day of school, so to speak, and so they were super excited. Raven Johnson literally dancing on the stairs as well. But really, I'm just super happy for Caitlyn more than anything, because she's earned this with all the hell that she's been through this past year. So they're all super excited to get to work, and get to work they did. The training camp footage is intense. The training camp footage is very, very high energy. A lot being worked on the defensive end of the floor. Raven Johnson specifically is being shown doing a lot of good work there. We also got some footage from the offensive end of the floor. Maisha Hines-Allen is kind of being baptized by fire a little bit, receiving passes both from Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell that I think that you could classify as insane. Elite would be two good descriptors for those passes. Specifically the one from Caitlin, that is the type of pass that only Caitlin Clark can make, where she gets a rebound and in one motion whips the ball to Maisha Hines-Allen for the layup. That is something that you don't see any other point guard even attempt to do, because the level of skill and the level of difficulty is just too great. But that is the sort of pass that Caitlin can pull off, and the look on Maisha Hines-Allen's face really says it all at the end of it, where she kind of looks back and it's like, I am in a completely different world. We call that look the Jonquel Jones, calling back to the look that Jonquel gave Caitlin after an insane pass that was of similar caliber to Aaliyah Boston in the All-Star game. So we call that look the Jonquel Jones. And she has been on the receiving end, has Maisha Hines-Allen, of passes not only from Caitlin, but also from Kelsey Mitchell. And to her credit, Maisha Hines-Allen converted on both of those passes, showing good technique and good form. And even though Misha Hines-Allen is here on a veteran minimum contract, even though her year last year was not much to speak of, if she is able to convert at a high rate at the rim, she's going to be very useful to us. And the same story for Monique Billings. The biggest statistic for her is the 81% rim conversion rate. That is her bread and butter, is receiving those types of passes and converting them for the easy lay. That is something that Monique Billings has done in the past, and hopefully we will continue to see that in the future. But I mentioned Raven Johnson before. She's looking like she's fitting in very well defensively. She is showing a lot of potential. She is showing good footwork. She is showing the ability to fight through screens quite easily. Her training camp footage is extremely impressive. But the concern, of course, has been, how is she going to fit in with the rest of the team? How is she going to fit in with the veterans? Well, she was asked that earlier today in her media availability, and let's take a listen to what she had to say.
It felt good to be here, honestly, and to play with these talented women. I'm kind of like just going with the flow, kind of just being myself, just always smiling, bubbly, always making people laugh, which I do that. I do a great job of that. So
Has it helped having a couple other former South Carolina players on this roster to kind of help ease in and ease that transition?
Yeah, it has helped. I think other people too. Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, Lacey Hall, Kelsey Mitchell. They all great people to be around. They help me when I don't know things. They know the system really well. So I asked them a lot of questions yesterday. I don't know. They probably got annoyed by me, but I did ask them a lot of questions yesterday.
And really, from any rookie, that is exactly what you want to hear. You want to hear that she's asking questions of the vets. You want to hear that she's integrating well with the vets. But as somebody that didn't know a lot about Raven Johnson personally, prior to her coming to the Fever, it's just very clear that there is another side to her that is not necessarily seen publicly a whole lot. She's posted Facebook videos, she's posted TikTok, she's posted Instagram, and she just seems to be silly. And in that sense, she will fit in very well with the Fever girls that we already know. She's going to fit in great with Caitlin. She's going to fit in well with Lexi. And she's naming all of the vets by name as people that she has already looked up to, the people that she's already talked about, people that she's already has a lot of respect for. So seems like the rookies are fitting in very well. It seems like any sort of team chemistry issues that people might have been concerned about, those concerns are not well placed. It seems like everything is just fine. One of the biggest topics of training camp, of course, has been player health, and talking not only just about Caitlin Clark, although that is a big topic for her, talking about Sophie Cunningham, talking about Aaliyah Boston, who was injured in Unrivaled, talking about just in general what the team's approach is going to be to player health this year and how different it's going to be, what they're going to do differently this year to avoid a repeat of last year. And Steph White had a lot to say on that topic. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
I think the biggest thing is just making sure that we're mindful of this day one. She doesn't have to be out there every rep. Just being mindful of reps. I think every year that she gets older too, she understands. The cadence is a little bit different. It's not like she has any to go out there and go through everything. I think with her, with Kelsey, with AB, with all of them, just be mindful of getting them in and out. And we need to get other people integrated anyway, so I think it'll give us a good opportunity to do that. Numbers matter, certainly having depth, and hopefully we can keep our depth. In a perfect world, she's not playing that many minutes. None of our starters are playing that many minutes, and we just were in a situation where we had to. So I think managing that early is going to be important. Understanding everybody wants to play, but having a true cadence and a true rotation is going to be really important for us.
And that's true of every team. Every team is going to have a rotation. Every team is going to have a cadence, and every team is going to have it worked out to make sure that your players, your starters, your stars get some rest and that you can preserve them for when the games really start to matter come the playoff times, that you have tread on their tires. And that was something that was not possible last year. And that was something that not only for the Fever, but this issue became a real problem for other teams around the league. Notably, the New York Liberty had problems with this going down the stretch as well. And so for them to be mindful of that from day one of training camp and understanding that You don't want to put wear and tear on your starters and on your stars in training camp, I think is super important. And going forward, it's not going to be that way in the regular season. It's not going to be that way in the playoffs, but the rotations do matter. And the fact that you want to make sure that Caitlin is not playing 40 minutes a game, that you want to make sure that Kelsey Mitchell is not playing 40 minutes a game, that you want to make sure that Leah Boston is not playing 40 minutes a game, that matters, and that is very important. That's why the roster is constructed in the way that it is. When you get an extremely capable backup in Ty Harris, when you get an extremely capable backup in Raven Johnson, who is only going to get better and better as the year progresses, that's why it's important that you can mix and match at the guard position. That's why the Caitlin off-ball experiment is so important, so that we can get her some rest and make sure that she's not being face guarded 100% of the time. All of that mixes in to make sure that when the games really count, when you're getting down to crunch time, when you're getting down to playoff time, hopefully when you're in the semifinals, and hopefully when you're in the finals, that you have your full complement of players and that you can have them play at the best of their ability when the chips are down. So that is really good to hear that they have a plan implemented from day one of training camp. Caitlin also was asked about this and asked about her personal injury journey. Let's take a listen to what she had to say as well.
I'm the person that doesn't want to sit out a single rep. Like, I want to be in there every single time. Like, I just love competing and I love playing, and none of that has changed. But I think just like being a little bit smarter with my body and understanding what it takes. And I think especially like through camp days, like these days are really long. Like, you're on the court 2.5, 3 hours and putting in a lot of stuff. So, taking care of my body at this point in the season is probably the most important thing. Whether that's recovery, whether that's pre-court treatment, whatever it is, I think it's those type of things. It's not been a direct conversation of like, this is what you can do or can't do. I'm 100% cleared. I'm 100% go. Obviously you saw that at USA. I've been playing pickup as live as I playing live all the time. Eventually skill workouts get a little bit boring, so you just want to play and play and play. So I think it's just being smart. Like, no need to overdo it at this point. But I think when I'm not in every single rep, I think it's a great leadership opportunity for me to help the younger people as well.
When you don't take every rep, like you were talking about, you want to take every rep.
Hey, nobody get hung up on this. I don't want this to be a story.
Sorry, Caitlin, it's going to be a story considering what happened last year. But I really want to take a minute to focus on this because I think it's super important. It shows Caitlin's maturity and that she has learned her lessons from her catastrophic year last year. She's a gym rat. We all know that she's a gym rat. We know that she lives in the gym. We know that she lives to play basketball. We know that she has a basketball in her hands every single day in the off season. We know that she's in the gym every single day in the off season. But when she talks about the mentality that she had prior to her year last year, the fact that she would just pick up a basketball and just go play and play and play, versus what her mentality is now, which is, let's be smart about this. Let's do risk management. Let's understand when it is important to go 100% and when it's important to not go 100%, the wear and tear that going 100% has on one's body. That, I think, is all super mature. And the fact that she has learned to manage injury risk and the fact that she has learned specifically what to do in order to make sure that she has a good offseason and that she has a good preseason and therefore will have a good regular season and postseason. This is a level of maturity that many athletes never get, and especially not an athlete at so early in her career. But it's obvious that she takes this really seriously. It's obvious that she's spoken with professionals, that she's spoken with specialists, that she understands exactly what she needs to do in order to maximize her ability at every stage of the season and hopefully to minimize injury risk. And so I think that is super important. It demonstrates a lot of maturity on her part, and I think that it's really encouraging to hear going forward. What does it look like, however, in the regular season? What does it look like in the postseason? What does it look like when you're actually on the court? Are you limiting yourself at all when you're on the court? Kelsey Mitchell was asked a question that was pretty much that, and here is what she had to say.
Jackie, I could cuss? Hell no. No. I got to do it all over again and let my body fall out the way it did. I'm going to do it. I love the game that much. I love competing that much. Lord willing, it don't happen again like that. Hopefully it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, but I'm going to down my sword every game, every time.
And this is exactly the answer that you want to hear from any of the superstars. And Caitlin would say exactly the same sort of thing. When you're on the court in a game, you're 100% go. You are not limiting yourself at all. You are full bore. This training camp attitude and this attitude about being smart with your practice sessions has nothing to do with what happens when you're on the court. You leave the minutes management to the coaching staff, and they're going to figure out a rotation that works, and it is their responsibility to continue to make sure that you are being healthy and that you are being utilized effectively. But as far as you, the player, are concerned, let them do their job and you do your job, which is to give it 100% every minute that you're on the floor. And Kelsey would tell you that and did, and Caitlin would tell you the same thing. Aaliyah would tell you the same thing. Any professional athlete would tell you the same thing. Next thing to talk about, of course, is what exactly the product is going to look like on the floor. We've had an idea of what the product is going to look like on the floor. We know how Caitlin wants to play. There's been some question as to whether the way Caitlin wants to play is the same as what Stephanie White wants to do on the floor. So Stephanie White was asked this question, what exactly is the product on the floor going to look like? Let's take a listen to her answer.
Yeah, I think we'll look a little bit different just because of our personnel. We have a little bit more size. I think we'll be able to do some more things on the defensive end of the floor. I think we'll hopefully be a better rebounding team as well, and that'll allow us to play a little bit more in transition. We were limited because of not just our personnel but our numbers in terms of being able to pressure full court, being able to play with pace. I think we were like 5th in the league in pace, and we want to be in the top 2 or 3. So we want to play faster. We'll look and see what we have in combinations and what we can do in the court. But I think more than anything, we want to be a bear on the defensive end of the floor. We want to be in the top 3 in the league in defense, and we want to play with more pace.
So there you have it from the horse's mouth. Steph wants to play fast. She wants to play with pace. She wants to cater to Caitlin's strengths. She wants to play defense all 94 feet of the floor, and she wants to make sure that we run teams out of the gym. That is going to be the goal this year, and that is going to be the main area of focus for Steph White and for the coaching staff. And this dovetails exactly with the front office's moves this past offseason. Every single player that we have on the floor is athletic. Every single player on the floor loves to run, loves to sprint. Every single player on the floor was acquired specifically with Caitlin Clark in mind. And we are talking specifically about Taisha Harris, who is an incredibly athletic backup who could start for half of the teams in the league. Raven Johnson, an incredibly athletic point guard backup, defender especially. She's going to dovetail exactly with what Steph White wants to do on defense. And Monique Billings, the big swing free agent acquisition that we made in this offseason. And Steph was asked about how she felt Monique Billings was going to integrate herself and how she was going to fit in with what the Fever wanted to do. Let's take a listen to that.
First and foremost, Mo's an elite communicator. She's an elite communicator on the defensive end of the floor. There shouldn't be mistakes in coverages because she's talking about it. She's a really good defender, active, aggressive. She's a hard rim runner. She's a hard roller out of ball screens. She's a terrific rebounder. She's a bright personality. She brings a lot of energy. She's smiling. She enjoys being out there. She enjoys the game. I thought her and Caitlin had really good chemistry at USA as well. So looking forward to integrating her into what we do.
Yeah, this is exactly right. If I were to make up a checklist of qualities and features that I would want in a 4 that was best designed to utilize Caitlin Clark's strengths, Monique Billings is the person that I would say most closely fits that checklist. And the fact that we went out and acquired her, it is a risk because she doesn't have starting experience, but her skill set is exactly what we're looking for. Steph White just confirmed that. And Aaliyah Boston had a couple of things to say on Monique Billings as well. And she also talked about her former South Carolina teammates in Ty Harris and Raven Johnson.
Mo's exciting. She's an exciting player. I think she's super athletic. She runs the floor well. She rebounds. She shoots really well around the rim, and I think there's no better piece than her. So I'm super excited to play with her. Yeah, I'm super excited. It's like a full circle moment for me. I was Ty's freshman when she was a senior, and Raven was my freshman as a junior. So it's just super exciting. I think they're just gonna bring that hard work. I think we've all seen Raven the way she's been performing in her last year, and then Ty just her experience, and she's played under Coach Steph before, and so I'm just super excited to have them here.
Final thing that I want to talk about today, and I do think that it is important to touch on this because we do have a lot of people that have returned to the Fever. Lexi Hull is returning to the Fever, Sophie Cunningham returning to the Fever, and most notably, Kelsey Mitchell is returning to the Fever. So first, let's talk to Lexi about what it is that drove her to decide to come back to the Indiana Fever.
I mean, this is home. I think, when season ended last year, I knew this is where I wanted to be. I've been here for 4 seasons, and I feel like we had a great momentum last season. We're able to accomplish more than we had in the past, and I think for me, I just want to keep growing on that, building on that, and building with this group.
What is it about Indy that you've enjoyed so much that's made it feel like home for you?
I mean, the fans are great. From the moment I got here my rookie year, even though we didn't have the best year on the court, they welcomed me with open arms. Someone from the West Coast didn't have a lot of people here, didn't have anyone here really that I knew. They made this place feel like home, and it's just continued to feel more and more like home the last few years.
This is a sentiment that you're going to hear over and over again from everybody that has returned to the Fever. Aaliyah Boston said something similar when talking about why she signed her Epic deal. Kelsey Mitchell as well said something similar when she talked about her reasoning for resigning with the Fever. Let's take a listen.
For all the right reasons, I knew Fever was a priority. I knew that I wanted to kind of be a Fever girl again in a certain way. My relationships that I built with AB, CC, and even like Lexi and like Soph and all those guys, it was family vibes. So I couldn't I couldn't shake it and let it go. I'm proud of the stuff that like AB's been able to do and sign for, and CC been able. I think it's dope. I think it's like, I don't know, it's like the future of everything. So you kind of like embrace it, be proud of it. It's pretty cool to see.
You hear this sentiment over and over again. You hear it from Lexi, you hear it from Kelsey, you hear it from AB, you hear it from Caitlin. It's family. It's family. And those are the types of bonds that we're talking about. These are the types of bonds that were forged last season and between the core three the season before that. I personally am of the opinion that the first time that Kelsey Mitchell was up for free agency prior to last season, that she felt like she was going to be as good as gone before Caitlin came in. And that when her free agency was up, that was really when she made the decision to return to Indy to invest herself in what was being built in Indianapolis with Caitlin and with AB. And so the decision for her to return this year was more of a no-brainer than it was last year. And it was because of the bonds that were forged between the players and coaches, and just the bonds that have continued to be forged. There are going to be forces that are going to be pulling at, especially the core three, forces that are going to be pulling them apart as time progresses. We've talked about the money aspect over the course and what it's going to do over the course of the next few years. If there is any hope to retaining Kelsey Mitchell for the long term, it is going to require sacrifice. It is going to require Kelsey to make some financial sacrifices specifically. But it is that investment in family and that family dynamic that she spoke of here, and that has been cultivated for the Fever. And that is true for Lexi. That's the same that is true for Sophie. That's the same that is returning for everybody that's on the Fever. The family connection is what is going to keep them around. And as long as that family connection trumps the financial connection, they're going to be Fever girls. And so let's take a listen to one more soundbite from Kelsey Mitchell regarding the future.
We talked a lot. Me and CC talked a lot. Me and AB talked a lot in Unrivaled. As Lexi, we sat at the table a couple times together. We knew we had to make it make sense. We knew that we wanted to be together. So that was the easy part, being able to sit down and break bread with the people that you enjoy playing the game with. That was the easiest part of it. But I think knowing that we wanted to be together, we talked about making sacrifices for each other. We talked about being what we needed to be for each other. But numbers specifically, try to lead that to the higher power.
This is probably the most important video of all the videos that I played for you today, because it confirms that Kelsey, that Caitlin, that Aaliyah, that Lexi, probably Sophie, that everybody behind the scenes is sitting down and is coming up with a plan and talking about what sort of sacrifice it's going to take to keep the core Fever girls together. I would imagine moving forward, Mo Billings is going to be part of this conversation. I'd imagine moving forward, Raven Johnson is going to be part of these conversations. And these are super important because in a world where you've got the New York Liberty planning on how to stay together as a core unit, when you've got the Las Vegas Aces planning on how to stay together as a core unit, this confirms that the Indiana Fever are doing the same thing, and they understand that it's going to require sacrifice. So when we move on to next year, and Caitlin is going to be in line to get paid, and everybody knows it, everybody understands that Caitlin is going to get paid, but they also understand that in order to remain together, sacrifices are going to have to be made. And that's something that AB did this year, foregoing some money off of her epic deal in order to field a competitive team and bring Kelsey back. Next year, Caitlin is going to do the same thing, but Kelsey also is going to have to be making some sacrifices, and that is the sort of dynamic at play. And so as the forces pull on the core three to come apart, that family dynamic is pulling them back together again. And that's just really good to hear. It has a major impact on the future. Does this mean that Kelsey is a Fever girl for life? I don't know. There's no way to know that until we actually get there. But it does confirm that Kelsey wants to be here, that we want Kelsey to be here. It confirms that they are talking behind the scenes and understand the sacrifices that need to be made. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been kind of the training camp recap. I'm probably going to do another one of these videos because Media Day is going to be on Wednesday, and so there's going to be a lot of content released from Media Day. Training camp is going to continue on throughout the week up to our first preseason game, which is at New York Liberty, so that's going to be an interesting matchup right off the bat. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up, ring that bell for notifications, and ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in the next one.